Hi, this is Beth Slate with RJH Consulting. We help attorneys build, grow, and manage successful law firms. I'm here today to introduce a friend of mine who I think of as the guru in digital marketing and growth for companies. And that's Al Wagner with MegaVoxx. Al, hello.
Beth, good to be here.
Thanks. We're still learning how to do this. I'm still learning how to do this. So let me take a moment to say, if you're new to our channel, please like us so that we get more popular and do all that good stuff that we're supposed to be doing. But today I wanted to bring Al on because I have him actually working with some of my clients, and I have seen his work with other people. And to be honest, he's one of the few people that really meet my standards and exceeds them on not only producing the results that my clients need in their marketing endeavors, but also in client care and integrity and all of the values that you can count on him when he says what he can do for you. So Al, there are so many things that we can talk about in digital marketing. And I think that right now with COVID, this is becoming an even more important aspect of the things that law firms have to do, because in the past, they've sort of relied on a lot of business development efforts that might have been in person or event-like. And so I know that, at least for my clients, the word for 2020 is pivot. And so we're looking at all the new things that we have to do, and how do we improve on those to stay ahead. All of that said, there's so many different areas that we can address and take a look at. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to get them all done today. In fact, I really just want to cover one, and that would be a place to start for my clients who are sort of in the middle of this crazy year. So first, tell me a little bit about yourself and about MegaVoxx, and what's your magic?
Well, I feel like after that introduction, I need to PayPal you some money, so send me your address afterwards.
Got it.
I've been doing digital marketing specifically for local businesses for 25 years now. In fact, this is my 25th year. And of course, the weirdest year of my entire career with all this COVID nonsense. And so I got into digital marketing originally to promote my own brick and mortar business I had at the time. And I started doing it, this is back in the early 90s. And it seemed like magic. It worked so well. And the phone would magically ring, where normally you would have had to spend thousands of dollars on a yellow page ad or something else at that time. And digital marketing was new, and I was just floored with what you could do with it. So that's how I got into it, and it just grew. And then friends with businesses, hey, could you do that for me? And I'm like, oh, sure, let me give it a try. And that worked, and it just went on from there until it finally became my business overall. And that's what I do full time now. And I found that in this space, there's a lot of very technically oriented people, but there's not a lot of people that are people oriented. So they don't know how to talk to clients. They know how to talk to their computer. And that's not really the full picture, because, these local businesses, they're all about the people. And you have to be people focused, because it's people who are going to pick up the phone. It's people who are going to decide that you're the one they want to contact. And so you have to make sure that the people element is there. And then when you combine that with digital marketing, so the results can be absolutely phenomenal.
You talk about the people aspect, and of course, that is very near and dear to my heart, because at the heart of everything we do is the work that we perform for our clients, whether we are the law firm and the lawyers and the staff, or us as consultants and you as a digital marketing expert. It's the relationships we build and how we connect to other people. And I think that we want to make sure we produce the results but we don't get lost in all of the data and the messaging, but that the message is very much poignant and human based. And so thank you for bringing that up and letting us know that, yeah, it's about people. So if we could just take a few minutes to talk about one area that you think would be an easier one, or something maybe that our clients are already doing that they can tweak, or how they might use it more effectively, what would that be?
The one thing I see, and this goes from mom and pop operations to Fortune 100 companies that don't seem to really understand how this works and could use it much better, and that is the area of your online reputation. It's at the core of every purchase and every decision that a consumer makes these days. So I think that is one thing where every business could really up their game and make things better for the people that they deal with and make things better for their business at the same time.
You know, I will tell you that it's pretty obvious we're in an Amazon review driven world, where they are the ones that actually started a lot of this. Hey, tell us about the product you used. And then people would add on or make more comments. And that became, according to Gallup of 2019, the client experience has become the number one purchase decision. You know, I mean, that's the factor in making that decision. And I know that attorneys struggle with the online review process because they're used to having the name on the door be enough. But to build sustainable law firms now, moving forward, they need to have their clients speaking for them. And I think that this is a tool that a lot of them are not utilizing well enough. So I want to hear more about that. Why reputation marketing?
Well, you're absolutely right in so many ways. And man, we could talk for an hour about the other ways that this is true. Amazon has really influenced online flow in so many ways. And the review of products started a wave that now permeates uh, every facet of every kind of purchase. I mean, from surgeons, uh, heck, there's, I don't know how this works, but the prisoners actually review prisons. There's
Oh
sites
my
for this.
goodness.
You know, like
Okay, hadn't
the
heard
food, the
that.
food's good, the guards are nice. You know, I don't
Oh
know
my
what,
gosh.
whatever. But everything is about, before I spend my hard-earned money, I want to know what other people's experiences have been. And Nielsen did a study where it's ridiculously high, like 80 or 90% of consumers weigh the value of an online review by a stranger as high as they do a recommendation from a friend or a family member. So
That's new information. I hadn't heard that before. Wow.
yeah, so they're really important. And push comes to shove, when someone has that immediate, and again, low attention span, when they search for, something like, I just decided I'm going to get a divorce and I need a family law attorney. So they Google family law attorney in their area. When they see them, your aggregate scores, Google will line right up there. And if you've got two lawyers that have 3-star aggregate ratings and you have a 5-star, guess whose telephone is going to ring? It's as simple as that.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's just fairly new for the legal industry. So we know that this has kind of changed the arena, and that if people are reading reviews, we need to have them out there. Is there a specific number that you should have, or?
Yes, that was actually part of the Nielsen study. So you can actually, there's actually tracked that you can create trust in a consumer before they've even talked to you for the first time if you have at least 10 5-star reviews. That's the break point where that engenders the beginnings of trust, even though they've never talked to you before.
Okay, so clients, law firms, attorneys, go out there and count them, see how many you have. That's a good place to start. Where do you put the reviews? Where do you find them? Where do you post them? How,
So it's important that you know what the review landscape is like and that you take control of it. Don't be a victim that where reviews happen to you. Make them happen and become the architect for your portfolio, if you want to call it that, of consumer opinion. There's four main places that you want to be. One is the most critical, and that is on Google, which means you need to get yourself registered as a business with Google so that you get a business listing, which enables you to have reviews on Google. And they're the number one thing that everybody looks at. The next is you need a profile on Yelp for a lot of reasons, which we could spend a lot of time going into here, but maybe we'll do that in the future. I know a lot of businesses hate Yelp, and for good reason.
Yes, yes.
uh,
I have my problems with them. Yes.
but we could absolutely use them to our advantage and to our clients' advantage without giving them a dime. You can do everything you need to do with Yelp with a free listing. You need to have a business profile on Facebook because you can have reviews there. And then if you have industry specific sites, those can be very important. And in the legal industry, the top dog is you need a good rating on Avvo, and even a site perhaps even like Find Law. And Avvo is actually the one place, and it depends on the circumstances, but if the circumstances are right, it can actually be worth paying Avvo for a listing so that you appear at the top of the results. If it's called for, this depends kind of like on analyzing your competition, which is what I help clients do. And if it's meant to be, it's not that expensive, and it can the return on investment can be very large because Avvo packs quite a punch, and Google loves Avvo and trusts them as a go-to source for legal opinion. So
That's true. I love Avvo for all of my clients, and find that, while they may have a secret formula on how you get rated, there are I'm aware of how to improve their score. Their reviews, while are not included in the score, the more reviews, the better. And so I love them for my clients, rural or urban, it doesn't seem to matter. But so you're saying Avvo and maybe Find Law as industry specific, and Facebook and Yelp, and the number one, which is Google.
absolutely.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
reason how Facebook and Avvo contribute to your success is both of them are darlings of Google. And so anywhere in the United States you Google for some kind of lawyer, often the top three positions are taken up with Yelp listings and Avvo listings. And it's something along the lines of find the 10 best lawyers in Los Angeles, if that's where you are, or whatever. And so then people will click through to something like Yelp or Avvo. And then if you're ranking it really high on Avvo, that's how you'll chain in to that process with the path that the consumer is taking, and that's how you'll connect with them.
One of the things I'm always looking at for my clients is how do we get the most bang for our buck, right? What's that return on the investment? And just having these reputation, having somebody who's going to monitor these and keep this going and make this an intentional thing, that doesn't cost you anything. So that's a huge plus. Any law firm of any size can use these sites to increase their reputation and their reach, without really investing any dollars here. But you said something earlier that I think is super important, and that is you need to move from letting reviews happen to encouraging them and making them happen. This is also something that I do a training for on my clients, is how to get a good review, and when do you do that in the case, and how do you set that up? So how do you monitor those reviews? Is there a way to make that easier, or can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so obviously this also comes back to the whole don't let things happen to you. You need to be monitoring for when something is said about you. Otherwise, you may not know that there's negatives out there that you're not even aware of, that's on some other site that we haven't talked about, because there's 1,000 kinds of review sites. So the first thing you can do, and this is free and everybody can do this, is you can set up something that's called a Google Alert. It's a Google product, and it's simply, you say, like, whenever you see this term mentioned, I want you to email me the link to where it's mentioned. And this is something you should set up for your law firm's name. You should set it up for every partner, perhaps even every employee's name, so that anytime something about your firm is mentioned, that you get an alert immediately and know that what's happened, and it may be something you need to address. Now, there's one caveat to that, like, you should absolutely do that. When you get into professional monitoring services, this is the advantage of doing that, and that is someone may, for example, go to your Yelp profile and say, like, this law firm was the worst law firm I've ever worked with, and they never used your name because it's your page, your name's at the top of the page, and so they're making a comment about you. Google Alerts will never pick that up because nothing was ever said that was identifiable to you. So professionals use special software and monitoring to monitor inside of those accounts, knowing it's you. And so they'll pick up a lot of things that with the normal situations that you might run into with, like, Google Alerts, would never pick up. So that's the advantage of stepping up one notch. But everybody should be doing the Google Alerts. That's free, and you can have 1,000 terms if you want or more. There's no limit.
That's awesome. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of Google Alerts, and I'm going to totally go in and do that for us as a consulting firm. So that's awesome. So on the marketing end of reputation marketing, the whole online review process, tell me how it works.
Well, it used to be, and this is old school, and if anybody says that they're going to offer you reputation monitoring, and that's all, that's not enough. That's what used to, what someone who did that used to do, and when they say that, you can tell they're not up to date, because simply monitoring is important, and that's step one. But then you get the reviews, and again, instead of just letting them sit there and having people run into them, you take them as content and you broadcast them and you publish them and intentionally put them in front of people. And that means putting them on all of your social media, making sure first of all, you have the social media accounts. And every time you get a good review, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on LinkedIn. And you can do it in different ways, different kinds of content. You could just share the text. One great thing, people love images and memes. That's kind of the preferred content on something like Facebook and Instagram, is if you have a little talent with something like Photoshop, and even if you don't, there's a great site, I believe it's called Canva, CANVA.com.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they already have, like, things that are made for Facebook, and you basically just type onto them and it turns it into an image. So you can type the 2 or 3 sentences of a great review, put, like, the image of 5 stars on it, and then you can share that image on Instagram. And so you take this wonderful content about the third party people saying how great you are and push it out as much as you can. It can also be done in context with your normal PR routine. If you're doing press releases in something that's more known as brand journalism, you could even share a big win, like a big case or whatever. You can do a press release and shoot that out to all the top press sites and distribution outlets out there, including all the major networks. And I mean, you'll notice that companies like Nike have something new to say about themselves every month. There's press releases coming out. They got a new shoe. They got a promotion. They've hired a new VP or whatever. They're making sure that they're just in front of you all the time with all of their good news. And that's one thing you can do, is take the reviews, their spectacular content, and repurpose it and put it out there and tell people this is why you should hire us.
I love everything about what you just said, because I am a repurposer. I am also a little bit on the cheap side. I like to take one thing and try to use it for a million different purposes. So what I'm hearing you say is that you get these reviews, it hasn't cost you a dime yet, except in maybe a few moments of your time to actually ask for the review or have a process in place. And that actually is something that we at RJH Consultants teach our clients, is how and when to ask for those reviews. And then once you have that material and you've put them on all of the review sites, you have a ton of content to use in your marketing. And unless you've hired a digital marketing firm that's going to write all of your content for you, it's already created. It's just a matter of putting it where you want it to go. And again, what an excellent repurposing of that one decision factor for so many people. I love it.
And most people and most business owners that I know of hate creating content. It's I think we all do.
I'm a writer and I hate writing marketing content. So I hear you. I love to have other people say it and, send me a review. And I just use the heck out of it because it's so much easier.
Another obvious place to use it, obviously, is on your website. So when you get reviews, you can turn that, and have a page that's all about reviews. And by the way, this has not been scientifically proven, but I would say I've seen it in action, and that is on your website, don't have a testimonials page, have a reviews page. Google loves the word reviews over testimonials. And so, read our real client reviews, have a page for that. You can add them as you come up, feature some on the front page. For my clients, I have a custom software package that every day scans all their reviews from these sites and automatically adds all the new ones to the website. It's dynamic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So the clients don't have to do anything about it. It's just like almost like the Google alert where you hear about it and then you can just go out and pull it all.
It hears about it and it publishes it automatically for you. So it's fresh new content that says how great you are, that's constantly being updated on your site automatically.
Now, that's something that's important to Google, correct? That fresh content.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Although there's also a value to aged content. And I think, fresh, it again, is one of those things where I hate to say this one, it depends. I have clients who are ranking as high as they ever have, from 10 years ago, and they have not had a new piece of content except new reviews on their site in 5 years. So you can't say like if you don't have new content, it's not going to be good, because I've proven that wrong.
Now I know I'm moving just slightly into a new arena, and we'll talk about this at another time. But that keyword in your content on your website, that's really important. So it's not just any kind of content, it's effective content that's going to get you that ranking. And that's not as easy as just putting up some great visuals. And in fact, we're going to have Al back to talk about that again, because I know a lot of firms are like, oh, we just had our website redone and it's beautiful, but it's not optimized to get them where they need to go. And so that's one of the pieces of bad news I'm constantly having to share with my clients, is that I love it, it's gorgeous, but there's no call to actions, there's no content on there that draws me in. So we'll come back to that piece. But so what you're saying is that you can use it on your website. You have a custom package, and you can do this for any of my clients, any of my attorneys?
Just about anyone. It's definitely part of every campaign that I do for all of the clients, whether they're my clients or clients that you've brought me in on to do their marketing. It's a staple of everything I do. It automatically is just going to happen.
I think one of the benefits that I see that for in my clients is the time that they don't have to spend tracking these reviews down, or repurposing, or putting it on the website, or paying somebody to actually do that in their firm. So I love it. Outsourced, simple, easy, and it's automatic. So I love that.
And that's one of the things, and we can, well, this kind of goes more into the topic you're talking about doing in the future. When a client comes to me, once I interview them and we get an entire campaign designed, 99.9% of the time, there is no client interaction, jobs, or tasks needed from that point forward. It's hands off. It just works like a machine, and they do the business they're designed to do. I do what they need on the digital side, and together it's a 1-2 winning punch.
But that's fantastic. I know all of my clients want to hear exactly that thing. So here's what I know. Positive reviews are great. Negative reviews are scary. So tell me about, when do you ask for a positive review? How do you ask for it?
So I have been testing this for over 8 years, and I have tried almost every way I have been able to think of to make this process easier, because positive reviews are great and they're the hardest ones to get. You'd think that happy people want to help, and they do. It's just that everything else is more important. And so
I actually think I've seen a study about that, where happy people share with 2 people what they experienced, and unhappy people share with 9. But it's a long time ago that I've heard that. It could have changed, but we do know that if you're unhappy, you talk about unhappy more than you talk about the good.
I have watched this happen in real time. You know, you struggle, and then maybe you've contacted a customer 3 or 4 times, and finally they'll leave you a 1 sentence, on Google. They're like, great guys, love them. Someone unhappy, they'll go to Google and write 2 paragraphs, and then they'll go to Yelp and write 2 paragraphs, and then they'll go to Facebook and write 3 paragraphs. They're like, where else can I make trouble? And that's just the human nature. So handling and managing all of that is sometimes like herding cats, but still really important. The best thing to do, I mean, I've done everything from having a kiosk with an iPad mounted in like a doctor's office. So like someone could leave their reviews while they're there before they leave. And everything that I tried has inherent issues that kept it from working. And so here's the winning formula that I finally settled on. 1, ask for the review at the time that a 5-star level service has been rendered, right then. That's when they're happy. They just had a big win. You just handed them a check for their settlement or whatever. Ask for the review and be specific. I would let you know, if you think you got 5-star service today, would you mind leaving a 5-star review for me? Be blatant. It's not a bad thing. People do not think you're strange for doing that. And then send them a link to where you want them to review. Take as many of the speed bumps out of getting to that place as you can. Like I create all those links for my clients, but if you want to Google, how do I make a direct link to my Google review box, I think would be the way it would get you there. Get that link that takes them right to where they need to write to the review, and send it via text to their mobile device. Because you have to be logged into all of these services. You have to be either logged into Yelp or logged into Google. And most people logged in like 2 years ago and have forgotten what their login is, but they're logged in on their phone. So send it, can I send you a text to a phone where you could send me, write a couple of sentences, and sometimes walk them through it even after they get the link, especially if they're not really familiar, and say, okay, here's where you click the stars, and here's where you write a couple of sentences, and make sure that you get it, because reviews are actual money. They return real cash to your business, and so take them that seriously. Every time you get one, it's money in the bank. So right at the time that services are rendered, do it on their mobile device, and then once they do that, and usually by the next day, when it publishes, sometime in 24 hours, go online to your console in Google, your business console, and comment on their review and thank them for it. And Google loves that. It completes the process. It shows that you're involved. Now, on the flip side, when a negative happens, oh my God, what do you do about that? So here are your options when it comes to a negative review. It doesn't have to be scary. In fact, you could turn it to your advantage. Number 1, contact the person and see if you can fix the issue. Sometimes they're angry in the moment, and just a little attention from you and a small fix and they will turn around and edit that review and turn it into a super positive one for you doing your due diligence and helping them out. So you can often do that and just turn it around, or at the very least remove it, whatever you can negotiate with them. You can go, nuclear, and you can sue them for a negative review, but it has to be a very special case. There's a big difference between someone's First Amendment rights to an opinion versus a fact. If someone says they think you smell bad, you really can't sue them. They could have an opinion. I didn't like what they did. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing. But if they said they were going to be there at 8 o'clock and they didn't show up until noon, that's a fact. And if you have the evidence to back it up, pictures of the clock, pictures of everything, you've got to think like a lawyer in this case. And also not the one that I would recommend, going to immediately, but that can happen. The other thing is you can get a lawyer involved and you can do what I call paying the extortion, which is basically paying someone to remove their review and never speak of it again. If you're in an industry, where you're talking about hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, or even tens of thousands in settlements or whatever, and one review can keep you from getting one client, it's worth $500, whatever it is, to give the person and have them sign like a non-disclosure and that they'll never speak of it offline or online again, have an actual agreement. And I've helped clients and lawyers do this and make it go away, because it will pay you dividends greatly to just get it gone. The one that's my favorite, which is if you've got this worked into your business plan where you ask everybody for that good review, you can just bury it and push it out of existence to where it's not seen anymore. That doesn't really cost you anything except your plan of action and how you operate. You can also comment on a negative review, and you can be very strategic with this, knowing that the person who you're commenting to will probably never read your comment, and your comment is really not for them. Your comment is for other people in the future, prospective clients, to see how you interacted with somebody who was negative, and it's a PR move. And so you always apologize for whatever happened and offer to rectify it, and that they can call you on the direct private line because they have it, and we'd really like to make this right. And that's all you need to do to show that you were the bigger person in the event. And that's what you're really doing, is you're demonstrating your willingness to future clients, not to the person who left the review. So think of that as like part of your PR machine. And that's really your toolkit that you have to work with. And it can be pretty effective.
So let me make sure that I understand how to address positive and negative reviews. So when do you ask for positive reviews? You're saying it's at the time of when something 5-star has happened to your client. So, for example, when I'm working with family law firms, what I will say is never wait to the last day of the family law issue to ask for a review, because it rarely happens that your client gets everything that they ask for. What you want to do is ask for it on the day when you've had a good win, or when they have appreciated your emotional support and the relationship and the communication that you've built. Reviews are always strongest, I know, when they're talking about how they were treated and how the experience was, as opposed to the outcome. So outcome is good. But people are, in most cases, looking for an experience. So how was that experience? So on a good day, ask for that 5-star review, make it easy for them, send them links. Negative reviews, everything from nuclear options to hiding them to, making reparations, to addressing their problems through an apology and an invitation to work with you, and also any changes that you're going to make. I've seen that work also. We're so glad that you pointed this out to us. That doesn't line up with our values, and this is the change that we're going to make. please give us a call. We'd like an opportunity to talk with you and make sure that the next person has a much better experience, or whatever that is. And again, the more real you are, I think the more mileage you're going to get out of that. Don't put a canned response on there. You can tell when it's a canned response. So that's positive and negative reviews. What I want to know as we kind of conclude here, and we again kind of run out of time, if I wanted my clients to know more about you and how you can help, what can you do for them in relation to reputation marketing?
We can design an ongoing campaign that utilizes, for example, the software package we talked about, in-depth monitoring, helping them to build that process and the technology to help, smooth the bumps to getting people directly to the review sites they need. We even do the responding to the reviews for them. Once again, we're back to that. You almost don't have to do anything. It's done for you.
Okay, and for the seats in the back, you almost don't have to do anything. That's
yes,
great. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we want to be your reputation concierge. And one important point I missed that I want to say about negative reviews too, which is never ever argue in written form. Oh yeah, well, we didn't do that. You said we did that, but you know what? We didn't. And that just makes you look bad in the future. Whatever it is, swallow your pride and think of the bigger picture. And if we're doing that for you, you know that will always be the case, and that nothing untoward will ever happen. Okay.
So Al, how do people get in touch with you?
They can email me at Alan Wagner, that's ALLENWAGNER at MegaVoxx, MEGAVOXX.com.
Awesome. So once again, Al, thank you so much for just showing us a tiny corner of what digital marketing can include and how it can help your business. I know I've seen your magic. And I can recommend you to anyone out there. And if you're looking at reputation marketing, I hope you've gotten that this is an inexpensive way to market and connect with your perfect client in a way that's going to be really effective. Because as Al said, there is a study that strangers reviews matter as much as a personal recommendation, and that's the world we live in right now. So thank you so much. This is Beth Slate with RJH Consulting talking about digital marketing for today's law firms, and we hope that you'll come watch us again.
Ta-da!
Oops, no, that's my video. I turned my video off accidentally. Oops. Okay. Yes. All right. I'm hoping that it went back and forth on the screen instead of having two of us here.
I think it did.
Because when you were talking, I had to turn the light on behind me, and I just I don't think we want people to see that part. You know what? Actually, I thought that went the best of the three, but send me the video when you're done and let me see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, this one won't need any editing. I'll just be able to top and tail it and compress it, and it'll be ready to go.
Awesome. Okay. Many thanks. What do you want to talk about next time?
We should probably talk about the core of everything, which is search engine marketing.
SEO. Okay. You got it.
Because I'd have a little, I think because everybody's confused about what it is, and you can talk about the three different things that it is and what makes them different, and how one doesn't necessarily give you the other.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because like me, I know it needs to happen. I just want somebody else to do it because I don't understand it. So getting the basics would be great. So, all right, my friend.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Bye-bye.